Morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are. This is the Wait, what? That's not it? All right, I'll get it right. This is the Debate-A-Mania with NerdTube, and we are here live to debate certain topics. And with me, as always, I am DLZ101. With me, as always, is Cousin Cheeto.
Cousin Cheeto, baby. Welcome, everybody, to the grandest screen of them all, your own, because this is all online.
Mhm.
Today, we are having our Debate-A-Mania special event. It's just something fun we're trying to do. And what this is we have people who have sat down and had debates. Now, the debates are pre-recorded. However, you in the chat get to vote for the winner.
That's right, man. And we've got some good ones here, man. We've got, Star Trek versus Star Wars. We got Joker versus Green Goblin. We've got some amazing debates coming up today.
That's right. Tons and tons of great debates, all through the mythos of NerdTube.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead.
But before we get started, we'd like to take a minute really, really quick to pay tribute to three men that we lost this week. Terry Funk, Bray Wyatt, and now Bob Barker have all passed on in the same week. Bray Wyatt, as we said yesterday, was very tragic at the age of 36. It's very unfortunate. We lost Terry Funk at the age of 79, but Terry Funk lived a full life, and now Bob Barker passed away today. He was the voice of our childhood with The Price is Right at the age of 99. Help control the pet population, have your pet spayed or neutered. So Godspeed, Bob Barker, Terry Funk, Bray Wyatt.
Yep. And it's very tragic. I mean, age of 36 for Bray Wyatt is just way, way, way too young. Guy was talented. I said that back even when I watched wrestling back a decade ago. So, okay. So with that all being said, everybody, we are going to jump into our first matchup of the afternoon for us. And that is going to be the Bearded Man Thing versus Boss Man, and they're going to be defending the merits of Batman Returns versus Boss Man's favorite superhero movie of all time, The Dark Knight Rises.
Ooh, this one's gonna be good, baby.
All right. So, and as we've said, with the commentary, me and D Jose, we will not be necessarily commentating per se. We will just, be talking. So, All right, let's go.
Here we go. You're gonna want to turn the volume up a bit.
Are we having technical difficulties?
Yes, because I cannot hear Zam like at all. Mage can't hear anything.
Okay, so not hearing the debate. So of course it is. We always got to start off with the problems, right?
Yeah, it's always this is live, man. This is what we do, and we're
doing it live. Fan
Yeah.
friggin' tastic. All right, it wouldn't be a NerdTube live event if there weren't friggin' problems.
Yeah, yeah, but glad that we're getting this corrected as best we can, folks.
Okay, I'm gonna switch browsers here really quick, just in case.
Yeah, good idea.
Oh Lord Jesus, help me, Lordy, Lordy.
Yep.
Okay, maximize my screen.
Okay.
We're going to share this screen now. Yes, I understand. Share audio. I'm just making sure everything is
good to rock.
All right. Let's do this again.
Take 2, baby.
For real this time.
Yep. Here we go.
Yes, welcome to Debate-A-Mania. We're here with the super heavyweight battle. It is Bossman versus the bearded man thing. It doesn't. Yeah, this is how it is, baby. Now, Bossman has been waxing lyrical that The Dark Knight Rises is the greatest thing of all time. There's nothing more superior than this movie as far as he is concerned. It's not just the greatest comic book movie. It is the greatest movie ever. But in his path, in his way, is Bearded Man Thing. And his thing is Batman Returns. One of the best sequels in recent memory. Michael Keaton's last outing as Batman before he came back in that terrible Flash foot movie. But nevertheless, this is his rebuttal to The Dark Knight Rises. It's the battle of the Batman. Yeah. All right. First of all, how you doing, boss man?
I did all right.
Fantastic.
Bass.
And first time I'm really kind of meeting Mr. Bearded Man Thing here. How you doing, my friend?
Fan-fucking-tastic. Let's fucking go.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I have here a British pound coin. Now, I'm not going to let either of you decide because then that way one of you gets the advantage. Bossman's heads, yours is tails, Man Thing. All right, and then whoever wins the toss will get to decide who goes first. All right, let's rock and roll. It's landed on tails. So you, Mr. Bearded Man Thing, would you like to go first or second?
I will go second.
No problem. Okay, boss man, your 1 minute 30 seconds starts now with your opening statements on The Dark Knight Rises. Let's go.
Okay, so The Dark Knight Rises, so it's part of the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, the other two are pretty decent movies, but this is the superior movie for a few factors. Namely, it has a fantastic score by Hans Zimmer. The Desiree Bassara flaming drum beats. I love the fact that he builds into the fact that it's set in the Middle East, which we don't really get to go with Batman, especially when the League of Shadows is set there. They're not Japanese or Asian; they're from the Middle East. So it's real good to bring that aspect, especially musically, in. It's beautifully shot. It's no longer in black flaming darkness. It's brought into light, which we'll get into in the symbology in later. But all that is war dressing. The story is shit, and the story isn't shit here. So what is the story of The Dark Knight Rises? The Dark Knight Rises is about Batman overcoming his weakness and becoming human again, because Bruce was killed along with his parents. That's always been a thing, especially in this film. Deals with, for example, his
15 seconds.
Okay. So I'll just say it's taking the Tale of Two Cities and putting it into a Batman film, and also overcomes the arrogance, the loneliness, and the isolation, and it makes him much more accepting of other people.
Time's up.
All right, cool.
Time's up.
Okay.
Sorry, one second. All right, Mr. Bearded Man Thing. Your opening statement, please. You have 1 minute, 30 seconds starting now.
Alrighty, let's fucking go. We're talking about Batman Returns, the greatest sequel of all time. And it's not even that hard to prove. We have a wonderful cast with Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman, Danny DeVito playing the Penguin, Michelle Pfeiffer playing Catwoman, and then you have Christopher Walken starring as the main villain of the film, Max Schreck. It's just a wonderful film from beginning to end. You have, the theming of the dark themes of the time period and how it matches with the comic books. You got Danny Elfman reprising as a composer for this film, who, let's be honest, Danny Elfman has set the tone for music as far as Batman films and TV series since the 1989 original Batman. Every song, every Batman composer bases their work off of Danny Elfman's theme. You can just hear it, even in the Dark Knight trilogy. A lot of the music is built off of what Danny Elfman has created.
15 seconds.
The movie speaks for itself. It is one of the greatest Batman films of all time.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
As far as opening statements.
No problem. All right, so it's rebuttal time, fellas. Bossman, you're the first to rebuttal and put into equation why your film is better than his film. Starting now.
Okay, it's a Tim Burton film. It's not a Batman film because it doesn't deal with any of the Batman elements. It's all about these weird, dark characters. Now, if you want to tell me it's a good Tim Burton film, cool. But it's not a Batman film. The Dark Knight Rises is a Batman film. It's about Batman. It's about Bruce Wayne. It's how he becomes a human again. The fact that he acknowledges that Commissioner Gordon is the one that helps him when he was younger, and he started to help the young people of his time. You know, whether it be John Blake or the other orphans and stuff like that. They don't do that. They actually try and kill orphans in this. They actually try and kill the firstborn of Gotham. That's the master villain plan. What's the master villain plan in Dark Knight Rises? Is the fact that he's trying to persuade poor people to kill rich people.
15 seconds.
So he's basically taking the 10 stages of genocide and putting it on a narrative. And that's my problem with Batman Begins. Sorry.
Batman Begins. Okay. No problem.
Sorry, I missed
No problem. I know. No, it's all right. It's all right. All right, Mr. Manting, you have 1 minute of rebuttal starts now.
You say that it's not a Batman film, but it's closer to the comics than The Dark Knight Rises will ever be. Dark Knight Rises is almost Nolan trying to make a Michael Bay flick. It's not that good of a storyline. There's so many fucking plot holes in The Dark Knight Rises that I can't even begin to describe in less than a minute. Let's say Commissioner Gordon sending all the police force down into the sewers because they might find Bane. How stupid could you possibly be? That nobody would do that. They've led Commissioner Gordon to be this intelligent police officer all the way up to this fucking point. And you know what he does? He sends everybody into the sewers where there might be a fucking trap.
15.
Anyway, let's even put this into perspective. It's not a Batman film because it's set in realism. It's not even based off of the comic books. It's loosely based off of,
Time's up. Time's up. All right. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, let me just get my thing back. All right. Bossman, you want a rebuttal?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
Okay, so it's based upon Nightfall. It's also based upon Hush. It's based upon Long Halloween. It's based upon A Death in the Family. It's based upon all these. Now, he's not going to make it verbatim because as soon as you do that, people start pulling it apart. What Batman story is Batman Returns taken from? Nothing. It's taken from the fact that Tim Burton wants to make a Tim Burton film. People who are weird. You're like Max Schreck. Oh my God! I'm going to push you outside the 10th floor. And it's gonna take all this other stuff and just ridiculously stupid. For example, the Penguin story idea of let me become mayor, even though I'm this horrible monster. He's supposed to be a gangster. If you want to complain about the content,
15.
He's supposed to be He's supposed to be a gangster, not a flaming monster. I think they make it too literal because it's a Tim Burton film. Anyway, finished.
All right. Okay, Mr. Manting, your time for 1 minute rebuttal starts now.
Absolutely. I will say that I would much rather have a Tim Burton film as a Batman film than whatever the hell Christopher Nolan was coming up with. Because even though it's loosely based on all these novelizations and comics that you referenced, at what point do any of those comics go for realism? This Batman film, Dark Knight Rises, the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, not saying that they're bad movies. They're great movies, but they are not Batman films. They are based in real life. They don't have the Bane venom. They don't have Ra's al Ghul's resurrection serum. None of the elements that are in Batman comics are a part of this movie. You want to talk about Max Schreck being an original character in Batman Returns? At least he was a good character. In the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, I'm gonna talk like this. It's the worst Batman voice in all of the Batman, like everything that I've ever seen.
Time's up. Okay, your turn, boss man.
But the thing is, at least he has a strategy for beating Bane. It's not just, I'm going to throw electronically gadget at people and then the dog's going to catch it. And then he's going to throw it at Miss World to frame me for murder. He's literally, that is not his plan. His plan, Bane's plan is to make it that the richer are responsible for the poor people, which is happening today. The fact that the poor people can realize they're in a city state. So again, the 10 stages of genocide are in there. But also the fact is it takes it down to a human level, which is that Batman realizes he's this arrogant prick who's been too confident about the power he holds, and then he gets a younger, faster, stronger person than he is, and he gets overcome, and then he becomes a different person. He becomes Bruce Wayne again. Wait, I'm finished.
All right. Okay, Mr. Mansing, you're up.
There's not much left to say on this. You know, I could keep on going on about the plot holes and, you know, it's based in reality and not in Batman comics. The writing is subpar. I mean, it's just another terrorist trying to die hard Batman. You know, it's not that amazing of a story. The biggest gripe I have with this movie, is they try and actually base it off of some of the storyline in the comics where Batman gets his back broken, and then he gets sent to a prison where a couple punches in his ribs
15.
while he's being lifted up in the air somehow fixes his fucking back. Like, I loved The Dark Knight as far as the Nolan trilogy, but to come in and see Dark Knight Rises was just absolutely
Time's up.
underwhelming.
All right. So, okay, guys, I think we've kind of exhausted our rebuttals here. So we're going to be going on to final statements right now. All right. Yeah, 1.5 minutes now to give your closing statement, starting with you, boss man. Let's go.
Okay, so Batman Returns is a Tim Burton film. It's not a Batman film. It has a terrible plot with terrible framing of Batman that he gets done by a gadget he did to try and save people, and then that gets used to condemn him, and people who've been working for him for years immediately buy it. So how stupid are those police officers? But in this, we did get it tied to the idea of genocide, the idea that Commissioner Gordon was his hero, because the fact that he did something as simple as just putting a coat on him when he's younger and stuff like that, and now he's being a hero to orphans in his own time. The fact that we're getting, him using actual tactics, so he's not just using force, he's actually having to pick and choose his spots against a much bigger, stronger opponent, a much younger opponent. He was in Bitter Nick, so he's having to use punches to get rid of the breathing masks. He's having to use that, and I love the idea of Batman, not just because that's Batman from the comic. Batman from the comics isn't all about force; he's about using his intelligence to try and figure
15.
out weakness. So I think that's what makes it a great Batman, is that he's using his intelligence, not just using, hammer meets rock, basically like he did in the other films.
All right, we're done. Okay, Mr. Bearded Man Thing, 1 minute 30 seconds on your closing statement, starting now.
Absolutely. I could shit on Dark Knight Rises all day, but Batman Returns stands on its own. It is a great film from beginning to end. It has the dark tones. It has the Gotham City, being just this malevolent landscape where the 1%ers are just using and empowering over all the rest of the people. Penguin, the acting in it is just wonderful. The music in it is just wonderful. You say it's just a Tim Burton flick, but honestly, it for the time period, it so closely resembles the theming and the ambience of the comic books that it's just absolutely ridiculous. I love the movie. It's a great movie. And with that, I will rest my case.
Yeah, 30 seconds. You good with that?
I'm good with that. I think that the movie stands on its own. If you've watched both films, you know which one's better.
Okie dokie. All right. So, thank you very much, gentlemen, for that very, very lovely discussion. Nice back and forth between the two of you. But you out there in YouTube land, what the hell do you think? Who's the better man here? Is it Mr. Dark Knight Rises, Boss Man, or is it the returned Batman himself in the bearded man thing? Who knows? Well, you know by leaving comments below, vote, and all of that bollocks. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this session of Debate-A-Mania, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, so that is the end of the first match of Debate-A-Mania.
I got to give them this. Both guys brought it. Both guys had excellent points. But what do you guys out there think? You guys vote. The poll's up. You guys vote. You know, cast your votes. This is what it's all about. This is for fun. We're having a good time with this. Man.
And at although Zam said leave a comment with your vote, you can only vote. I mean, if you're watching this on the rewind, you can vote but it doesn't count towards the actual winner. You can vote
in the poll. In
the poll that's in the live chat right now. That is the absolute point of Debate-A-Mania, is the live viewers vote for the winner. Because unlike Vince McMahon, we listen.
Yeah, we do. We do, damn it.
All right, let's go to a couple comments. Just because I didn't go into the comments before, but while people are voting and going in, let's check out
what our audience is saying.
Yep, Nerdiverse says I'm hyped, and by the way, Nerdiverse, he is the Block, who is by the way was essential to bringing this together. He did a lot of the promo art. He did a lot of the ideas behind this. So, you know, big hats off to Block. This would not have happened without the Block. He is a very creative talent and a troll sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes is his understatement.
Fecto Studio says, sadly, I'm experiencing a Mandela effect. Thought Bob Barker was already dead, which, I mean, I was kind of surprised too when I heard that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Major Rage says, same here, and good afternoon to everybody.
Yep.
I'm not gonna read all the comments. There's a lot of greetings, good afternoons, hellos. Not hearing the debate. That's because I suck at BTS.
Yep.
Nerdiverse says Zam is very excited. Yes, he was very excited to do the opening bout and moderate for this.
I gotta give it to Zam. Who knew that he had that kind of energy in him? I don't think I've ever heard him that energetic in my entire life.
Right. Boss Man said, or I'm sorry, Major Rage says a Boss Man has an uphill battle. Returns is the superior film. More hellos from Jim Landscape, from Fecto Studios. Major Rage does say that the Bat movie versus Bay movie is wait.
Is a great point.
Is a great point. Okay. Daniel Vance joins us finally. I was waiting for him. Morning, gents. Just woke up late night. That's because he's a party animal, unlike us, who don't do anything.
Nope.
More welcomes to Daniel Vance. Daniel Vance says Tim Burton makes me vomit. I'm surprised Depp wasn't Batman and Boham Carter wasn't Catwoman. Nerd. Oh, that's me. Ha! Nerdiverse. Or Nerd Troop. Fecko says, I don't need a touchy-feely getting in touch with my Christopher Nolan character kind of Batman. I like the Michael Keaton Batman is in spite of the actor's height, which is
here we go.
Which was always a thing. This is Boss Man. He says, I'll abstain. That's okay. I mean, it is your debate. You make your points already.
Yeah.
Fecto says, great points, but Michael Keaton wins. It's definitely a Batman film by Tim Burton. I don't know what Christopher Nolan's version writers were thinking, but it's not Batman.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow. Oh. We got some more. Ginger Greek is in the house. And he touches horses in weird ways. Okay.
Zam? Yeah. Probably.
Zam? Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. I think that's. hold on. I think that's really it. What happened? How did I get all the way back to the top?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All righty. All right. So, with that all being said, I'm getting word that from the back, I think from the back, we have someone who wants to speak to the audience here for that with a match tonight. So,
All right.
let's go to the back and let's talk to one of our main event participants, Mage Rage. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And, thanks for making the right call on who to put in the main event. Me and Zam, that was a knockdown, drag out kind of debate. You guys here in the chat watching today, you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it. I mean, we're talking about Enterprise being good or if it's crap. And we both brought some great points. It's a knockdown, drag out match that you do not want to miss. So you'll want to stick around to the end for sure.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for dropping that truth bomb there, my dude.
I mean, I said a lot in the promo. I mean, they'll see the debate. It speaks for themselves. I'm surprised he wasn't scared leading up to it. I know he had to be thinking I was coming after him like a Hirogen.
Oh, using his own mommy Captain Mommy pants against him right there.
I thought that was what it was gonna be. I thought he was gonna, be like, oh, Voyager's better, but he took the, just Enterprise is bad. So, you deflect that just as easily. But I'll let you get back to it. I'm looking forward to this next matchup. All of them are going to be so fun. This was just so great to do. And thanks to everybody for being here today.
Actually, in the next matchup, guess who's the special guest moderator for that match?
Oh, is this the one I moderated?
Yeah, that's what you moderated.
See, everything about doing this project has just been a blast.
And there's also quite a handsome guy on there too, and myself.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh yeah, easy on the eyes.
All right, Mage, we'll catch you later in the main event. Thanks a lot, bud.
You're welcome. I'll be here.
Oh, all right. So the winner, and I don't know what's going on with this thing here.
All right, do we have the results?
We do have the results. The results of the poll are in. Actually, it is very, very close. It is so very close, actually. But Batman Returns, the bearded man thing, is the winner.
All right. Ooh, because that was good, man.
That was a good debate. I mean, look, a lot of us give Boss Man a lot of crap for The Dark Knight Rises, but I mean, he pleaded some good points. So our hats off to a bearded man thing who won the opening bout of DEBATE-A-MANIA. But without further ado, I was trying to get everything set up over here on my end. So we are going to get into the second matchup of the evening, afternoon. Sorry.
Yep.
And that is going to be Dixie versus Cheeto. I don't know who that.
I don't know who that guy is.
And they are going to be debating on who is the better villain, Joker or the Green Goblin.
This one's going to be good, kids.
Why is Mage? Oh, yeah. I saw Mage at the bottom, and I'm like...
Yeah, and you're like, wait a minute, what?
No, it's Mage-O Referee. It's not Mage-O Rage. So.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Here we go.
All right. Thank you, Debate-A-Mania viewers. For our next matchup this evening, we have a debate over the best worst villain. Who is more heinous, the Joker or the Green Goblin? For this debate, we have gathered Dixie defending the Joker, and Cheeto is arguing the side of the Green Goblin as the more heinous villain. Thank you so much for joining me, gentlemen. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm ready to bring all the heinous crimes to this court.
Excellent. That being said, we'll get right to it. We're going to flip our coin. Heads is going to be Dixie. Tails, Cheeto. The winner will pick if they want to start or finish this debate. So we're going to flip now. Going to flip this time instead. Tails, Cheeto.
I'm going to go second.
Okay. All right. So you're starting us off, Dixie. I will, for your opening arguments, when ready.
All right, well, the Joker is insane. Like, not normal, like, ha-ha, he-he, Malkavian type insane, where they talk to street signs and dumb stuff like that, but criminally insane. And not only that, but he can also spread that insanity to other people. For, I think the most common example is whenever he spread it to Harley Quinn and turned her into a bad guy. He can also spread it throughout other people, not just her, which she was very prone to being a supervillain, but yeah. But yeah, he can spread his evil around. It's like a disease almost.
Okay, I'm guessing that's a pass.
Yep, that's to you now.
Okay.
Ready? Oh,
ready, Cheeto.
I mean, the Green Goblin does have a very checkered history, and although the Joker is criminally insane, the Green Goblin is more of a smart and heinous villain. I mean, he has done some pretty effed up things in the past, which, I mean, we could go from kidnapping Aunt May to basically hostaging Gwen Stacy against against Spider-Man, learning his identity, and I'm also talking about Norman and Harry Osborn. We're also talking about the sins. What is it? Sins Past storyline, where basically Norman Osborn fathered Gwen Stacy's twin children. That originally and I cannot remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure that Gwen Stacy was a minor also at this point.
Ew.
This was before she died. So I mean, she might have been an adult at the time of this, because it's a little hairy about the timeline when this happens, because she goes apparently over to Europe. But still, regardless, there's that point. I mean, also
15 seconds.
Faking Aunt May's death. I mean, come on, like, how many times does Green Goblin have to destroy Peter Parker's life in order to be a villain, the best villain out of the two? Pass.
The thing is, though, he's just picking on Peter Parker. He's not like really doing a whole bunch of other stuff to other people at large, which the Joker is doing. He is spreading his insanity all over the place through like robberies, the Joker gas, etc., etc., etc. So he's not just, he's going with a shotgun approach, and Green Goblin's attempting a sniper rifle.
Pass.
Yep. Okay. Let me know when I can go.
Go.
All right. So yeah, and I mean, granted, that shotgun approach is real, but does that really make it? Does that really make it heinous? Like, at the same time, not only is he hurting people that are around Peter Parker, but he's also hurting a ton of other people. I mean, as I said, he's faked Aunt May's death. He turned Charlie Cooper into a monster just to get at Peter Parker. I mean, let's be real. There's absolutely no person that he wouldn't ruin to get to Peter Parker. I mean, and let's talk about Harry Osborn, doing several kind of weird drugs and stuff like that to become just this maniacal, insane personality. Harry Osborn is actually more of a Joker Goblin, where it's like he almost let his son and his wife die because he was because so insane and just out to get Peter Parker.
So he's basically a bad guy with daddy issues. Lovely. You've seen that before several times, even in real life. So you're saying that the Green Goblin is basically the George W. Bush of bad guys. Awesome.
Pretty bad.
Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, okay. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that the Green Goblin, the whole Clone Saga was Norman Osborn's doing. Funding the Jackal, bringing Peter Parker and cloning him, and Ben Reilly, then killing Ben Reilly, bringing Kane, and using those chess pieces to just ruin everything. Let's be real. Dark Reign, he attacked in Dark Reign as Norman Osborn. He attacked Asgard. He pitted the entire United States and the superhero community against Asgard, which could have ended poorly for everyone in the world. Yeah. I mean, a war with Asgard would have been like the end of everything for the world if Asgard decided to take it poorly and go all Norse mythology on them. Pass.
All right, Dixie, anything further to add, or do you want to make your final statements?
I think I'll make the final statements. Okay, now, depending upon which Joker you're talking about, like, say, are we talking like the Arthur Fleck? That guy is genuinely insane. Like, crazy. And it's like a type of evil that you really can't touch unless you're going towards, like, Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a Joker, ha ha ha. Where's Harley Quinn, etc., etc., etc. No, he is a legitimate fucked up individual.
Okay, Cheeto.
All right. Well, I mean, I've listed everything off that the Green Goblin has done that has been heinous. Like the Clone Saga. Harry Osborn. Actually, the one thing that I hadn't brought up yet was the Harry Osborn cloning Peter's parents and bringing them in and making Peter believe that his parents were back to life. All of these things that I have listed, including the Gwen Stacy thing, which is heinous because it's basically raping a minor at this point. And as I said, Joe, you are correct with the Joker having the shotgun insanity mentality, and that is, but at the same time, you have to look at the heinous acts of a villain, not just who they've affected. I mean, we could look at Frieza from Dragon Ball, and at some point, Frieza's blown up the whole Earth at one point. So is Frieza as bad as Joker? No. So you have to kind of look at the specific acts of a villain and make that judgment.
Time. Well, there we have it. We're going to turn it over to the boys at the desk, and they will pass it off to the chat. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening and participating in Debate-A-Mania.
Yay!
Excellent job. Good points presented.
All right. So that is the second match in the can. DH, I'll let you go ahead and talk a little bit on this one, and then I'm putting the thing in the chat now.
Yeah, what can you say? Joker, criminally insane. He can infect people like Dixie just said, but Goblin, man, I don't know, man. I mean, Goblin was a tough call too because he just did everything literally just to fuck with Peter Parker. But what do you out there say? What do you guys say? The poll is now going up. It is now up currently. Who won this debate? Dixie or Cheeto? What say you guys? I thought that this was a fantastic debate. Props to both of you and Major Rage for moderating.
Yep. All right. I'm trying to bring up the next match, but then we'll get to a couple of the comments that came through during the match. This was and you know what? Not to incriminate myself a little bit, but that shotgun comment when I about lost it. I'm like, oh, I might have to that was like the finger poke of doom. Like
he hit you with that one because I saw it. I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, oh, okay, that shotgun comment was very, very good. I'm like, oh, mad respect, homie. Okay, so gosh dang it, I'm all over the place. All right, so so let's try to get into a couple of the comments here. All right, going back to the beginning of the match. So of course, Major Rage saying The extreme bearded close-up that was at the beginning of the match.
Yep.
Fecto Studios says depends on what version/year villain. So our thoughts on that one was it was pretty much any main line version of the Joker or Green Goblin. So like
any incarnation, basically.
Kind of, but like I wasn't doing like really niche versions of like the Green Goblin. I was just doing Harry from the comics and the movies and Norman from the comics and the movies. So that was kind of where I was coming from. Okay. I mean, there's so many versions of Joker. I mean, I kind of let Dixie go wherever he wanted to with it.
Yeah, because with Joker's Joker, you kind of have to let him be. I always considered Harry. I always considered Harry the Hobgoblin, not the Green Goblin. That's actually a good point.
See, I don't ever consider him the Hob because there is an actual like Hobgoblin. So I don't know. I've never considered that, but I mean, hey, to each their own. That's why Debate-A-Mania is Debate-A-Mania. Fecto Studios says hence he spent so much time in Arkham. He's talking about the Joker, I assume.
Yeah.
Boss Man says
they reference it in stories of comparison, larger than life. Person gets out of jail. Stakes a city. Okay. Huh. Kind of had trouble making that one out.
This one is very subjective, but I love the different approaches to the argument on both sides. The gun anthology by Dixie was top. Dude, that was like a rock bot, or that was like an RKO out of nowhere at the beginning of the match. I was like,
it was like you went to the top rope, you tried to do a frog splash, and he said, "Come here, motherfucker!" Bow.
He just hit me with it, man. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yep.
I was like, "I'm in trouble now." Okay.
All right. Do we have?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, we do have more. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do 5,000 things at once. I do apologize, everyone.
Understandable.
Daniel Vance says Batman sitting in the Morbius chair, Dark Side War, and asking who the Joker was is one of my favorite Batman comics. So far, I'm captivated by the event. Hopefully, down the line, it will happen again. The moderators are doing a good job. The debaters have stayed on point and made good arguments. That is the point. Green Nerdiverse can't wait for Debate-A-Mania 2. Well, we'll have to see how this goes. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's going good so far. At a glance, Green Goblin appears to concentrate on Peter Parker, but the fallout is at least citywide. So
that's a good point. That's fair. That's fair.
Jim Landscape just says Joker's always better. Okay. Well, that's an opinion. By the way, Mage, I am Boss Man. We know that. Depending on the Joker versus which Goblin, but Dixie didn't argue his point as well as Cheeto. Okay. And then Boss Man said that was a really good debate. So
yeah, it was. And this is why we do it, because it's fun. It's fun to hear differing opinions over subjects and heroes and villains and wrestling and Star Trek, Star Wars. Just everything come together that you nerds could want. This is why we do this, because it's fun. And you guys decide who wins.
Yep. And so now comes the point where I have to read the results.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Cheeto has won the poll by a pretty strong margin. So
yeah.
I do appreciate everybody. Thank you very much.
I am gonna give Dixie his credit though. That gun analogy was the highlight of this Debate-A-Mania so far for me. With his analogy, it was knockout, top notch.
Yep, that is correct. So Dixie, great debate. As I said, I think you did a great job arguing for the Joker. But let's all just agree that the Green Goblin is much more heinous. Okay, so moving on to the next match now. So this is going to be two new faces on NerdTube that these people these are actually good friends of mine.
Okay.
And Zam's, but first mine. But they watch the program, and we've always had arguments in Facebook chat about whether or not Star Wars or Star Trek is better. So we decided to kind of narrow that down a little bit. And this next match is between two friends, which is Lord Donkey and Rainbows and Stuff. And they're going to be discussing whether or not the Borg at their height would be able to defeat the Empire at their height. So let's get into this next match. And of course, our moderator is going to be Zam. So it's going to be another flamboyant one.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
To the Super Nerd Tube Debate-A-Mania Showdown. We have it really big for you here, baby. This is the what ifs of what ifs. This is the Borg versus the Empire. Kind of like Star Wars versus Star Trek, so to speak, but these particular factions. All right, representing the Empire is Star Shrek. Say hello to the people, my friend.
Hello, everybody.
Sorry, I got the name wrong. It's Star Shrek.
Fantastic.
Repping
What
the
a welcome
shirt,
that
and
was.
I've got the dark side glasses on.
Fantastic. And his counterpart, but is also his partner in crime, his lover, his bestie, his everything.
We're gonna call him TMI from now
Lord
on.
Donkey. Say hello.
Live long and prosper.
Fantastic. Now these two guys,
No.
they may be the greatest couple in the entire universe and galaxy and so on, but for one night only, they're going to be apart, going their separate directions, coming to a whatever. But nevertheless, they are going to be talking about it right now. Here's the debate. We're going to got a coin here. I've Star Trek, you're going to be heads. Lord Donkey, you're going to be tails. Whoever wins the toss even, will then have the choice to start the debate. Are you ready?
Ready. Are you ready?
We have tails.
A lot of tails.
Lord Donkey, tails. You have the choice. Do you want to start this debate, or do you want to let Star Trek start?
You go ahead. Okay.
Okay, so hold on. So you have 1 minute 30 seconds for your opening, starting now.
Okay, so hello everybody. So again, I will be repping the Empire, or the 501st Legion out there, which are a big group on the internet and so forth. I just wanted to we came here today to debate the infamous meme where you see the Death Star approaching, blowing up a Borg cube, and then it seeing 3 more Borg cubes coming, and the Death Star doesn't work on the rest, and you see the Death Star fleeing. So ultimately, my beginning arguments is that if we are going to discuss the Empire versus the Borg, I believe that the Empire would win. Ultimately, I believe that something that's different between Star Wars and Star Trek as a whole is that the Empire has had more military type of movies and more rankings within their empire. We have different rankings within their navy. We have like Commander Thrawn, or the Grand Admiral Thrawn, or Grand Admiral Tark. You have Vader. You have Lord Sidious. You have different commanders and troops that have different types of military weaponry. I believe that even if the Borg were to assimilate some of the technologies, such as the Death Star's laser beam or some of their gadgets, they have enough various military tech between the Force, a lightsaber, flamethrower.
Okay, you're done. Sorry, I should have given you a 15-second. I do apologize, but I was so engrossed in what you're saying. Anyways, Lord Donkey,
Bad moderation.
you're ready to go. Your 1 minute 30 seconds starts now.
Okay, I guess I'm repping the Empire, even so Kirk is this face, I guess. So you're repping the Borg. Oh, right, the Borg. Resistance is futile, even for the Empire. The Borg at its height, even with a few cubes, I believe would still be able to defeat the Empire, assimilate Lord Vader, Lord Sidious, and become the dominant force in their galaxy, in the Federation galaxy, and yeah, I'm good.
You have 45 seconds left, mate, on your opening.
I don't know what else to say.
All right. Okay, no problem. All right, we're going to now have 1 minute rebuttals back and forth between the two of you regarding your factions. Obviously, propping yours and knocking down theirs. Okay, Mike, let's go.
All right. So again, back to my first point that I was going to make, because the argument to my left or your right is that more Borgs show up, that means the Empire loses. My first argument to that would be that the Federation in Star Trek, whether you want to call it plot armor, if you will, the Federation has always beaten the Borg. It doesn't matter what, it could be BS reasons, but the Federation, which, mind you, has a lot less tech than the Empire, always seems to come out on top.
15 seconds.
In the last episode of Picard will be my main arguments that they just fly through a Borg cube, blow it up, hooray, the heroes win. I believe that the Empire, that has more military tech, can overall force back the Borg.
You're done. Stop. Okay, Lord Donkey, time for you to give your 1 minute rebuttal. Hopefully you've got a lot of food for thought. Let's go.
Yeah, so that is plot armor, because obviously the heroes in Star Trek have to win. They don't always win. Battle of War 359, the Borg decimated the Federation with Locutus, of course, but with the Borg tech from all the centuries of civilizations they've assimilated, they would assimilate one Star Destroyer, or if they could get to the Death Star, they would wipe out the Empire with that tech. The technology is not even comparable.
15 seconds.
I don't think. The Borg would laugh at the Death Star's the laser cannon, and it wouldn't have enough other defenses to fend off even a few cubes.
Okay, done. You're done. All right. Rebuttal time for you, Star Trek. Let's go.
I think you mean Star Trek. But yes,
yeah.
So my argument there is, first of all, we have to discuss if it is one Borg cube versus 15 Borg cube versus the entire Empire versus, one or two Borg cubes of the whole Borg cubes. I think ultimately to say that, yes, if there was maybe 5 Borg cubes and it was just the Death Star, the Empire is probably going to lose that fight. However, I believe that the entire might of the Empire and the entire might of the Borg is a serious clash. I'm not even going to defend that point that the Borg might even win some of those fights. But I still believe that when you have Force users, people with lightsabers, you have different tech that they are not used to, that they
10 seconds.
assimilate, and the Empire could fend themselves off heavy enough to eventually win or fight them off, such as the heroes always have to win.
Okay, you're done. Mr. Don't Care. Let's go.
I think the Borg Queen would love a Force user and love a lightsaber, and she would take that technology and put it into production, and not just, they have their hive mind, so everyone then, all the Borg drones would be able to use a lightsaber. Every single one would come at the Empire wielding a lightsaber. As soon as they took down their first Force user, all they would have to do, even if we're talking the height of both powers, the Borg would just need to assimilate one ship, one Star Destroyer. They might blow up their cube, but still send probes into that surviving ship and assimilate the crew, and then they can get into the rest
10 seconds.
Spread like a virus and take the Empire over.
Okay, you done? All right. How you guys feeling on rebuttals? You want to keep rebuttaling?
Yeah, I want to at least rebuttal that.
All right, fine. Let's go.
All right, so I disagree, because he's saying that, they just willy-nilly came on and they assimilated either Darth Sidious or Vader or any other type of Jedi or dark side Force user. First, they have to get to them. Let's not put out there that a Star Destroyer doesn't come with an entire fleet of TIE fighters, bombers, I forgot the name of it off the top of my head, but the other ships that they have, they can easily
Interceptor?
fight back before they even come in. TIE defenders, yes. They can easily come back and fight them off in a number of ways. One Borg cube comes in, yeah, you're going to have a couple of Star Destroyers fighting them off. But Darth Vader and Darth Sidious are very smart. They're very calculated, especially if you put in someone like Grand Admiral Thrawn. He would be smart enough to predict the Borg's movements and be able to figure out a way that they could fight and come back in. Let alone that if Darth Vader was the ground force. Let me just finish.
You're done. All right.
I can't get in there with Darth Vader because they can't beat him with the
force. Okay, you're done. No donkey. Are you ready for a rebuttal?
Don't make me disqualify you, damn it.
Let's go.
So, it doesn't even matter. They just need to lose one ship, and the Borg will have the whole Empire's communication network. They will know their settlements, know their planets. The Borg will be able to then send their remaining ships, whether it's a sphere or another cube. They'll send their remaining forces to go assimilate other worlds, raise an entire army against the Empire. They'll pick up a few Force users in there. They'll find out all the historical tech. First thing the Borg did was scan the entire memory bank of the Enterprise.
15 seconds.
They will get all the tech. They will get the information about lightsabers and Force users, and they'll be able to, with their hive mind, defend against a Force user, even a Sith Lord.
Okay, gentlemen. All right. So look, we've kind of got a lot of back and forth between will the Borg be able to assimilate Force users, and whether and what would it be like for a Force user to be assimilated, to be part of the collective. We get it. So now we've heard those particular arguments. I think it's about time we have our closing statements. Okay, so I'll start off with you, Star Shrek. I got it right the first time, by the way. All right. Give us your closing statements. You have 1 minute, 30 seconds, starting from now.
Again, my argument was going to be that the Empire has way more military tech than a typical Federation Navy has. They have Grand Admiral Thrawn. They have different admirals that would easily come back in, predict the movements of the Borg, and be able to heavily fight them off. You don't have someone like Picard that can wield a lightsaber and has force. So I think that would definitely fend themselves off a lot better than they would the Federation. And the Federation has always come out on top of the Borg. So you have someone like the Empire that has vast more military tech, Force users and lightsabers that would kick the Borg off. They'd find some type of way. You'd have someone smart enough like Tarkin or Thrawn or Sidious and all of his mad scientistry would come in and figure out some way to blow up or defend off against the Borg and defeat and kill their queen, either with a force choke, a lightsaber to the throat, and I don't believe that the Borg would be able to assimilate a lightsaber. I don't see that happening. So that's my essentially closing remarks. I think that the Empire would have a tough time, but I believe they would come out on top.
Okay, you've got 15 seconds left, but it's a good way to close it. All right, and Lord Donkey, on you, my friend.
Empire's only hope would be to make an alliance and band together with the rebels to, or something to fight an overwhelming Borg force. Because, like I said, once they get to one planet or one ship, they are spreading like crazy. They're going to assimilate. They're not just going to assimilate lightsaber tech. They're going to mine all the Kuiper crystals and put that into production and develop that technology so that they can use it across the whole Empire. They're going to have, all they need is one Force user, and then their hive mind would be able to be tapped into the Force and know what the Empire's leaders are planning and be able to use the Force to defend themselves. And the weaponry, I don't see that as being comparable. The Borg have advanced weaponry far more than the Empire that would be able to just wipe out the Star Destroyers and other Empire ships in one shot. So I don't think there's any question the Borg would come out on top, because you don't have that
15 seconds
like Picard to come and save the day. They're going. It's going to be not the Force is with, or may the Force be with you. It's going to be Resistance is futile.
All right. At 1 minute 28, you done that in. Not bad. Okay, thank you very much, fellas, for this very lovely debate between the two of you. You both got your points in, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. But what do the people out there in YouTube land think? Who won this Battle of the Beefcakes? Was it Star Shrek or was it Lord Donkey? Well, let us know with comments and votings below.
In the voting.
Take care now.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. All right. So that was match number 3. I'm going to get the poll up here. DH, what did you think?
I thought that was a great debate. You know, Star Trek versus Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars guy, but, you know, I'm kind of compelled to start watching Star Trek now.
Wow.
After hearing all this, man, I'm like, yeah, this is some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good, compelling arguments in there. And there are some of the comments that I was watching with some of the tactics of the Empire. And I mean, yeah, would the Empire be able to, you know, counteract the hive mind mentality, like with someone with Grand Admiral Thrawn, who is a strategic genius?
Yeah,
and I mean, they have a great point in the fact that sorry, I was looking at something really quick. In the mindset of, you know, would Grand Admiral Thrawn be able to outthink a hive mind, and would the hive mind be more of a deterrent for them? So everybody vote. I'm going to get the next match set up here, which is going to be the Block versus Wesley White. It is going to be the Ruthless Aggression era versus the Attitude era.
Oh, this one's going to be good, baby.
We did have a little bit of technical difficulties with this one with the Block's internet, but I was able to kind of edit it around and make it work. So, you know, so you'll see a little bit of editing in this one, but I did not make it look unfavorable for the Block as much as I wanted to. It's like the whole thing's going to be like well, I think the Ruthless Aggression era is bad. So hold on, let me get this set up here. And let's hear. DH, I'll bring up some comments here.
All right.
Just really quick.
Yeah, well, voting is going on at the moment.
Man, there were a lot of comments during this one, actually. I didn't even realize it. Daniel Vance says Zam is like a steaming coffee, so much energy.
I know, this is weird. Like, we've never heard him this way before. I'm like, what did he do?
That's right.
To get that much energy in
him. Zam is killing it as a mod from Majo Rage. Daniel Vance says, I want to debate who has the better glasses. Hot damn. That's right. Those glasses were on point.
Yeah, they were.
Boss Man says breaking up couples. Yeah, well, you know. Daniel Vance. Oh, go ahead.
DEBATE-A-MANIA might do that to people.
That's
Cheers
right.
501st.
Yep. Cheers to the 501st. Why is the next okay? Oh, that's Nerd 2. Bunch of jokers right there. Fecto says Star Trek is sci-fi in the future. Star Wars is sci-fantasy in the past, and you are absolutely correct. Major Ray says I said the same thing to my friend the other day. Fecto, you are exactly right. Jim says that the dang Borg can't do anything right. Which is true. I mean, Star Trek's point about Picard is more indicative of its crap writing than an Imperial superiority. Star 2 Electric Boogaloo got blown up the same exact way. Vano says I'd be worried about the droids being turned against the Empire by the Borg. That seems like a simple hack for the Borg and a ready-made insurgent army. That's a very good point. Fecto says absolutely. Hey, look, the resident divas decided to show up.
Oh, now he's here. Yep. Morning. Let me guess, you were up all night partying or something, Zam?
Yeah, he was pre-celebrating his DEBATE-A-MANIA win. Oh no, not his win. Okay, I said you're right on time. That's me. Sorry. One midichlorian midichlorian planet assimilated, and it's over. Force Borg. That's a good. And that was kind of my mental image when they were talking about that. I'm like, think about it. They farm those kyber crystals. All of a sudden, you hear. Like you see, all the red lasers of the Borg come out of the darkness. A resistance is futile, and then lightsabers start coming out of the ends of.
Somebody got to go.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, oh, that's an image right there.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Fecto says Picard stole the Star Wars plot. If Picard's crew destroyed a Borg cube in the same way as Luke destroyed the Death Star, how would the Borg win? Add use Hog Vong abilities to the Borg, and it's over.
It's over.
I don't know who that. I know the name. I don't know who exactly is in Star Wars. I'm not as big as a Star Wars fan as I am Star Trek. I apologize.
Yeah.
And then Fecto also says interesting idea. So if anyone in the chat wants to say what his abilities are, I will either agree or disagree.
Yeah.
Major Rage says I like the arguments of the Empire's variety of strategies and point of views versus the hive mind. Both have advantages and disadvantages. You are correct.
Yeah.
I want to know if the entire collective can be force sensitive if one member gets. If one member has the force is assimilated.
I think you meant to say assimilated, but yeah, Zach.
I mean, and that is also a good point. Is would every Borg be able to use the force, or would it only be? But you gotta. I mean, there's trillions of Borg, so you have to assume there's at least a good.
There's a good amount
of Borg that would have midichlorians in the Star Wars universe. Now, granted this is two different universes, so midichlorians probably don't exist in the Star Trek universe. So. Yeah, I mean, that's where you get the Harry Water. That's actually a good argument to have. Would Borg be able to use that? That could be a backstage segment, of would the Borg be able to use midichlorians or not because they're not in the universe? Daniel Vance, if Borg assimilated the Empire's stupid logic of killing the rank and file when they do something wrong, it's a stalemate. This is true. Fecto says it's irrelevant if the Borg destroys the Empire, then the rebels defeat the Borg like the Picard crew did. I would say not Zamir unless the nanoprobes can make the body produce midichlorians. That's a good point.
That's good.
That is very good. I'm trying to skip the agreeatory comments. Federation always wins. Might take some time, but always come out on top. Well, we're not talking about the Federation, so
yeah,
we're talking about the Borg and the Empire. Zam was partying all night. Yeah. Ngog can't be read or targeted by Force users as if they simply didn't exist. Oh, okay. So, all right, that's it for those comments. So, great comments. Great. I mean, hey, there's future Debate-A-Mania topics in there too. I mean,
yeah, I think we're going to get a Debate-A-Mania too.
This thing is going pretty well. So the next matchup I'm bringing up right now, everybody, is going to be the Block versus Wesley White Attitude Era versus. Sorry, I'm still bringing it up here.
Yep, but first you got to read the results of who won this matchup.
Oh yeah, yep. We probably should figure out who won, huh? See that's why DH is here. He's got to keep me on track because.
All right.
So the winner is going to be Star Trek and the Empire.
Ooh.
He had the better argument against Lord Donkey. So, fart noises of happiness. Hello, Gemini. Advance Debate-A-Mania. So, all right. So, Star Trek, Star Wars. Yeah. The Empire wins it. I mean, he did present a good argument, and there were some great topics brought up. So, although I'm very sad to watch my boo Star Trek lose this argument, I'm great. I'm glad that it was such a great debate, and everybody did some great voting on this one. So, all right. So the next one is going to be. Wesley White versus the Block, Ruthless Aggression versus the Attitude Era. As I said before, there was a little bit of internet issues on this one, so that you might see a little bit of editing in here, but yeah. All right, let me bring it up. All right, here we go. All right, everybody, we are here in our next match, and this match is going to be Wesley White. Whoops, over here. Wesley White, the returning champion of the U2C, versus the Block. who's the champion of deserts and ponds and crap. These two will be debating about the Ruthless Aggression era, which is being defended by the Block, and the Attitude era, which is being defended by Wesley White. So, okay, gentlemen, we are going to flip the coin to see who gets to go first. Heads will be Wesley, tails will be Block. Wesley, you get to pick. Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
All right, Block, opening statements. I start the timer once you start speaking.
Okay, why I think the Ruthless Aggression era is better than the Attitude era. Both are great eras, but I think the Ruthless Aggression era takes a little ahead of the Attitude era because it more focused on wrestling. It gave a lot more wrestlers time in the spotlight. You know, it wasn't just your Stone Cold, well, Triple H it was, and your Rocks. You know, they gave a lot of more time and developed people like Edge, Rey Mysterio, RVD. You had Brock Lesnar come in, Randy Orton, Batista. So they built a lot of new stars in the Ruthless Aggression era. They gave a little more screen time and credibility to women's wrestling. It was still coming along at that era, but it was getting better from the Attitude era. And they just put more focus on wrestling at large. There were still goofy segments, goofy storylines, all that, but they focused more on wrestling, especially on SmackDown. You know, they just focused more on wrestling, whereas the Attitude era, yeah, there were good matches. You know, I'm not saying there's not good matches, good memories, but they were more on the shock value. They were very Jerry Springer-ish. So that's kind of my overall thought on that.
All right. Minute and a half, you get your opening statements. Wesley, whenever you're ready.
All right, Attitude Era, like, it was very, very over the edge, unpredictable. Come home on a Monday night, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Whether it was with Stone Cold and the McMahon feud, whether it was Rock and his entertaining catchphrases, it was like all over the place. It was so popular, and Monday nights were so awesome. You either flipped it to Raw or Nitro. The ratings war was just, you had so many things from the Rock and Sock connection to Raw and panty matches. And you had some over-the-top matches like Hell in a Cell. And like I said, they pushed the envelope with the Scary Springer-esque type stuff. And it kept you tuning in every week to see what was going to happen, what was going to happen in the world of the World Wrestling Federation in the Attitude Era. It was just a very fun time of wrestling. A lot of people watched it. People, I was in high school, and you know, people talked about it the next day, and it was just very, very popular.
Okay. All right, Block, go ahead. You have 1 minute. Now, from now on, you guys have 1 minute. So, Block, go ahead and have your rebuttal.
Okay, agreed. You know, lots of fond memories. You know, had some good storylines. It was very over the top. But looking past the nostalgia factor, you know, taking off the rose-colored glasses, they, like, week after week, it was like those 15, 20-minute opening promos. And I get it, you have to do that occasionally, especially after a pay-per-view, to like set the story or the mood. But they did it almost every show. And it was always very predictable. And the shame about the Attitude Era is they had a lot of good mid-card talent, but they didn't really utilize them. It was always like your Stone Cold, your Rocks, your Triple H's, later on your like Chris Jericho's and such. They pretty much ate up all the screen time, whereas your mid-carders, your D'Lo Browns, your Val Venuses, Billy Gunn, I don't know. They had a huge
10 seconds
mid-card roster, but they usually only got like 3-4 minute matches. And basically, if you weren't a big name, you didn't get any screen time, which is a shame. But I understand you got to get money, you got to sell tickets. But at the same time, I think not the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era utilized more of their big card along with their upper tier talent.
Time. Do not make me disqualify you, Block.
I'm good.
All right, Wesley, you get to have an extra 20 seconds since Block went over his time.
Okay, well, having
I was gonna say I say member block. I say time when it's time for you to stop. So I don't know if you can hear me or not. I know you're gapping in and out, but
shut up.
All right, ready whenever you're ready, Wesley. You get your minute and 20 seconds.
Oh, I can hear you.
well, having him say that about people like Mark Henry and D'Lo, they still were memorable, and they did have some memorable segments. Who can forget about Mark Henry with being sexual chocolate and taking China out on dates? That was really memorable. And then you had stuff like the beer truck with Austin spraying the McMahons in The Rock. That was funny. And then, and who can forget the match between Undertaker and Mankind and Hell in a Cell? That is still talked about to this very day because that's how memorable it was, and that was part of the Attitude Era. As I said, it had very memorable stuff, some memorable matches. I mean, yes, you had Austin and The Rock as the big highlights, but hey, it was just like they stuck to their strengths, and those were the strengths, and that's why people tuned in. So you can't really hate on that, and that's all I can say about that.
Okay. Block, you have 1 minute, 60 seconds. You have one lap around a analog clock. Whenever you're ready, Block.
All right. So, to go off that, yeah, lots of memorable this and memorable that. But I believe as a pro wrestling fan, I'm like a Dave Meltzer where I have to give star ratings and such, but I'm not what they call a casual. Like a lot of people watch the Attitude Era because they're like, oh, look, it's some famous Hollywood star in a ring. A lot of people just watch the Attitude Era just because of the shock. And then as soon as that shock was over, they never watched wrestling anymore. The Ruthless Aggression capitalized on the people that actually watched wrestling for wrestling. Like I said, you had all these new guys come in, whether they were Randy Orton, Batista, your MVPs, your Kennedys, and then focusing more on Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, Edge, RVD, and then any talent they acquired from WCW. They put a little more emphasis on the actual wrestling, granted. Granted, they still had silly storylines, but they were the best overall.
All right. Wesley?
Okay, I'll admit, when it came down to the actual wrestling in the Attitude Era, back then, I will admit WCW did put on better matches, but again, I like the stock value of WWE. And they had geez. But it was it was entertaining to go in on a Monday night and watch whatever was going to watch, and it was interesting to see things like Stone Cold, messing with the Corvette, seeing how many stunners Vince McMahon can get, and seeing how much they could push the envelope. It was better to push the envelope, and it made more people watch. I'm like, yeah, the wrestling wasn't as wrestling, but it was still entertaining, and ultimately that helped WWE win the Monday Night War.
Time. All right. So, Block, you get to do your closing thoughts. You get a minute and a half to do your closing thoughts on the Ruthless Aggression Era. And then, Wesley, you'll get to end it off.
All right.
So, Block, you go ahead and start whenever.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. So the Ruthless Aggression Era overall, I think, was better in terms of quality and just of wrestlers and matches than the Attitude Era, and they had decent storylines and gimmicks. You had the Elimination Chamber. You had other concepts come up that were new and innovating. They still had some shock value, but they were kind of getting away from the Jerry Springer stuff. They were catering to the actual wrestling fan, not just trying to sell tickets and merch, which I understand they got to do that too. But, you had a lot of quality wrestlers and matches with people like Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker. Of course, you had Triple H beating everybody. You had RVD. You had your Booker T's, Eddie Guerrero's, Edges, Randy Orton's. Batista, etc., etc. You had Evolution. HBK came back and started wrestling again, so that's my highlight. He had great matches against people like Kurt Angle and, of course, Triple H. Pretty much anyone. You had a great undercard with Shelton Benjamin, Kennedy, MVP. Some might even argue Kerwin White and others. I'm just kidding on that one, but SmackDown really held it up during that era. Raw still had some of the stupid stuff like Katie Vick storyline and all that, but overall, I think the Ruthless Aggression, as far as a wrestling fan, it just offered more in terms of wrestling, and it still had quality storytelling, quality characters, and all of that. The Attitude Era was great, but I think the Ruthless Aggression Era, if you take off the rose-tinted glasses, Ruthless Aggression Era beats it out just by a bit.
All right, time. All right, Wesley White, you final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Well, going into the Attitude Era, it was a step above the new generation. They built new stars. They created new stars with like Kurt Angle. They even brought in people from WCW and repackaged them like the Big Show and the Radicals of Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, and the Man We Shall Not Speak Of, and they revitalized their careers. Even though HBK did not really wrestle, I mean, he did help start the Attitude Aggression with the DX, and what really kicked it off was Austin 316 with the King of the Ring, and then his feud with McMahon, and then it was just pushing the envelope, and it was must-see TV. You had some decent quality wrestling matches, and you had high quality entertainment. It was the edge of your seat. Like I said before, you couldn't wait to see what was going to happen the next week, and that is just how it was. Attitude Era was just such a great time, and then I would say the Attitude Era ended basically when Vince bought WCW in 2001. That's when the Ruthless Aggression started. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ruthless Aggression wasn't bad per se, as Block said, but Attitude Era was just where it was, and probably the best part of wrestling. And I think that's the bottom line because Wesley White said so.
Time. Very good. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much for being a part of this match here. And we are now going to turn it back over to the gentlemen at the commentary table for the voting. Block, Wesley, thank you I went the wrong way, but thank you very much for being here, you guys. And we will catch you guys in the next one. All right, man. That's a banger right there. Attitude versus Ruthless Aggression Era. DH, what are your thoughts on that?
From a wrestling aspect, I think I'd have to give it to Block. I think the Ruthless Aggression Era had the better matches, and it got to expose the younger talent, and you got better quality matches and better quality talent there as far as athleticism. But the Attitude Era was just over the top. It was edgy. It was cool. That was the most fun. But you can't go wrong with either era, in my view. But what do you, the audience, think?
Yep, the poll is up and ready to go, everybody. So, and remember, we are another thing I don't think I really explain or put out there enough is that we are looking at the arguments. We're not saying whether the Attitude Era or Ruthless Aggression is your favorite. We're saying who have presented the better argument.
Who presented it better. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of the basis of this. And I mean, we're not going to tell you who to vote for. I mean, if you really want to vote for the Attitude Era just because it's the Attitude Era, go right on ahead. But the point is to kind of present there to vote for the best argument is the point of Debate-A-Mania.
Yep. And speaking of Debate-A-Mania, Block, you little troll, you've been calling me out for the last few months. So here's the deal. Debate-A-Mania 2, I got the topic for you. What year was the most fun in wrestling? And that's going to be the topic that we're going to debate for Debate-A-Mania 2. So it's on, man. What do you say?
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, while Block answers, I don't know if he's answered yet or not, but I'm going to jump into the comments a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find out where these all begin. All right. We'll start right here with Nerdiverse. Speaking of which, is the block. Hopefully, I can't take on Bobby Black. I don't think that's supposed to be.
I think he can. Yeah.
We have a 13-year history, and I have to finish the story. I mean, if that's how you choose to die, then I mean. Greetings to those just joining. That's right. Anyone who is just now joining, go to the poll that's in the chat and vote for whoever had the best argument. Thank you so much for being here if you are here live, and leave a comment. We want to know what you guys have. Dixie says he's having internet issues. I love this comment. Zam says Wesley White versus high resolution block.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get Block into a studio to record these things next time.
Yeah.
Dixie says, Wesley, I assume you smell nice. Okay.
All right then.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't smell them, but okay. That was me. Nerdiverse, other than my internet, even this event has been spectacular so far. I would actually agree.
Yeah,
I think Fecto was talking about the previous debate, saying that it was a good debate. Unless they are talking about this one, but it wasn't over yet. Until you said wrestling, I was so far in left field regarding the eras.
Yeah.
Dana Vance says, I'm still in left field, but just not so far out now. Well,
it's a tough call. It's a tough call.
Zam says opening statements were good. Major Ray says, how much extra time did you give Wesley? LOL. I gave him as much time as he wanted, damn it.
Yep.
That is some bad internet from the block. And but the debates were still good. That's the point.
Yeah. It was almost hack week levels of bad.
Yeah, hack week level. Spinnernet.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know Spinner, go look up Spinnernet 101 on YouTube. Watch some of his old videos.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was a dark.
That was
time.
a magical time. That was a magical time
in the wrestling review universe. Anyway, it takes time for communications to reach the block on the moon.
Yeah,
it's true. He probably heard time after Wesley finished his statement. I know, but I still had to somehow get him to hear me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have probably just kept going. I stopped watching wrestling after Hulk Hogan won against Andre the Giant. Andre was unwell and through the fight. I think that's kind of how all wrestling goes.
Yeah.
That was WrestleMania 3 in 1986.
87.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 87. Okay. WWE might script Fecto. I thought I misread it. And then you said 87. I'm like, oh, no, wait. I didn't. You were correcting the comment.
Yep.
Okay. WWE might script Fecto, but we don't. Zam and I will probably have a feud after today.
Probably.
Zam brings up the point that WCW did play a part in the Attitude Era, which, although Wesley did bring up the point that we weren't talking about WCW, although it did play a factor in WCW play, but talking about specific wrestling on WCW does not affect the Attitude Era in WWF.
Yeah.
That was me. Wesley pointed that out. Just blame Bobby for hacking my feed, the U2C. It was a 2-on-1. They ganged up on me. Bobby is jealous of my dirt and dial-up internet. Him and Wesley are pals. Clearly, the fix was in. I mean, we'll see at the end if this was fixed or not. I mean, this is going to be like what Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett for the WWE title against Randy Orton, or John Cena is the special guest referee.
Yeah, John Cena is the referee, and
that's right. I don't want to be John Cena though. I really don't. Oh yeah, no doubt, Zam. I'm just lazy and typing on my phone. I don't know what that's from. All right, so please like and share. Yes, please. Yeah. If you're enjoying this, please like and share.
Subscribe.
Even after the fact. I mean, maybe somebody can join us for Debate-A-Mania too.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of welcomes to Funeral Friend. Dixie says no Russo, of course.
Bro.
Sorry, my presence took the event down a notch. And you know what, Block? It didn't. You know why? Because we made it work. So don't put yourself down. You were here. You showed up.
You contributed.
In your spandex tights, like all of us. And you wrestled and you debated and you did it. So give yourself some credit. Zam says Kerwin White was the greatest of all time. I made an honest attempt. Yeah, we know you didn't make an honest attempt. Stop beating yourself up.
Yeah.
And Major Rage says the same thing. It didn't block.
Yeah, Block
you
made some great points.
Kerwin White to the Hall of Fame. of course.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Block. Yeah.
Another great match. Funeral Friend saying hello to people. Next time, Block says next time we'll go to El Paso to film and record. I'm trying to skip all these kind of little ones here.
Yeah.
Dixie, Mr. White, I am weird and undead, but I need to ask, how do you smell? Like what is up? Dixie, what Debate-A-Mania 2. How does Wesley smell? Fine and Indy Funeral. Okay, he's just responding.
Yep.
Responding. I'm all right. Blah 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 blah. Please don't wash it down with chocolate laxatives again, Sam. Oh God. I enjoyed this debate because I knew nothing about it. That's good.
Okay,
That is
good.
absolutely good.
Yeah.
I think this is when TNA was at its popular pomp, like popular at its
I think you
prominent.
meant to say peak, maybe.
Oh, peak, maybe. Yeah. That might be a Debate-A-Mania topic. Best, or maybe he's talking about the best era in wrestling when you issued out the challenge.
Oh, okay, yeah. What year was the most fun?
Frankazoids, which is Wesley White, says Block was better overall. We don't know that yet.
We don't know yet, that. Man. We don't know yet.
There are still votes coming in. Nobody asked you, Zam. I mean, nobody really does ever ask it. Bend over. Welcome to the stream. You are
unless
easy.
He's here. Yep. Now Bend over's here. The party can begin.
Pride and Glory are all on the line for us competitors today. We should make a belt in Debate-A-Mania 2, though. I mean, look, everybody saying hello to Bend Over.
Yep.
Thanks, Ben. Oh my God, there's so many comments.
Yeah.
Debate-A-Mania has been off the chain. I grew up with wrestling. Me and my dad watch WWE all the time. That's fantastic. We all also. I wish I could subscribe a second time after today. Wesley says, how do I smell? With my nose.
Yeah.
Wesley, thanks for the match. I don't know if did Block ever answer your challenge?
No, I don't think he heard me, so I'll say it one more time. Block, Debate-A-Mania 2. Which year in wrestling was the most fun? That's going to be the topic.
So, all right. So I know we're going a bit long here, but that's okay. Let's keep going. All right. So the next match
results.
Oh God, yeah.
Yep.
How do I always do that?
Yep.
Okay, so here we go, everybody. Drum roll, please. The winner of this debate has been or is the Block.
All right.
After 15 votes, the Block has won. 15 votes total.
Yeah.
So good job, Block.
Yeah, good job. Dude.
That's like an arm tied. This was like an arm tied behind your back match.
Yeah.
So
and he came out and he won. Both men brought up great points.
Nerdiverse says, I'll take you and Cheeto for that matchup if he wants. Triple threat. Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We gotta make
there, man.
I say we gotta make sure make sure we don't have the same year though. So
I think what we do, we each pick a year and then we debate why that year is the most fun.
Yeah, that's
how we would do it. Yep.
All right, so the Block wins match number 4.
And we got a matchup for Debate-A-Mania 2 confirmed.
Yeah. Two more matches left. The next one is a strapping young man who is stupid. And one of our other contributors here on the channel, Vizaxon, and we are debating on whether or not The Never-Ending Story is a good movie or not. So hold on, let me bring this up again. I'm so bad at multitasking, guys. I'm sorry, but I'll get this.
You're doing a great job, brother.
I'll get this right one of these days. So I'm going to bring this up. All right, and this next match is being moderated by the one and only Boss Man. So we're gonna bring this up. And are you ready to do this?
Let's do this, baby.
All right.
With me today, debating the merits thereof of The Never-Ending Story, the film from 1982, I believe, is with me today the lovely and always talented Vizaxon. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
And to her right, the always dashing cousin Cheeto. How are you doing?
Apparently I'm being dashing today.
So Vitsatsin is going to discuss the merits. Cheeto's going to discuss the dismerits, I assume. So I am going to flip a coin. So it is going to be heads is Vitsatsin, tails is Cheeto. Decide who goes first or second. Just give me a second. I just dropped the coin because I'm an idiot. 1 second. Right, let's do that. It is heads. So that would be Vitsatsin. Do you want to go first or do you want to go second?
Heads won.
I'd like to go second.
Cool. So
everybody drops
just
the
give me
coin.
2 seconds. I'm just going to get my timer up. Okay, so I am going to give you countdown in 3, 2, 1. Tell me why the Neverending Story is a bad film. Go.
I mean, the Neverending Story is just a bad story because it is. Like, there are so many inconsistencies throughout the whole story. I mean, Atreyu is lost throughout the whole movie. You know, he has no idea what he's doing, where he's going. He loses his horse along the way. I mean, come on, like, how do you lose a horse? There's parts of the story that make no sense. Like the whole swamp of sadness. Like you have Atreyu and whatever Atax or Ajax or whatever the horse's name is, walking through the swamp of sadness. And then, literally, the horse sinks and drowns. And then in the next scene, you have Atreyu still walking, sad, and still walking, not sinking in this swamp. I mean, there's so many just editing errors in it. And I know, as a kid, you can forgive that because you don't notice it. But as an adult, and you're sitting there watching, you're going, wait a minute, there's so many bad edits in this movie. Where's the parenting in this movie? Where is the parenting? Because this kid is literally missing all day, and no one's gone to search for this kid. You know, there's not an APV. They're not searching the school. They're not searching the attic. I don't know. There's so much inconsistency in this movie, and plus some of the characters are just bleh. Pass.
Time.
When you said that,
So
I thought of Rugrats.
you're right inside the pal. Leah, you so if actually you get to respond. I'll give you time now. So 3, 2, 1. Why isn't Neverending Story a great film? Go.
I mean, it's a fantasy. I mean, you see all these fantasy races. You see this fantasy setting. It's all it's and even more so. It's taking place inside of a book that a kid is reading. So it's just and anything can happen in a fantasy book. So just yay, magic logic. I love the, even when I was a kid, I love the, the Jim Henson Studios, magical effects of the puppetry and so forth. But I think the scene that actually made me absolutely fall in love with the movie was the initial party going to see the Empress, and they see the Empress's palace in the very beginning. And it has a thing that doesn't happen enough in movies, I think, and that's it shows the people going to see the Empress, and they pause and they're actually admiring the view. You don't see this enough in movies where it's I live on Earth, but you bet that I would be admiring the Grand Canyon if I saw it.
10 seconds.
So everybody's in this world that's just amazing, and he's being pursued, he's running away, and he's trying to find
time. Sorry about that. Sorry. So Cheeto, I'll pass it to you to do a 1 minute rebuttal. So 1 minute rebuttal starting now.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, they go and they admire the view, and the some of the views are fantastical, including the Sphinx boobies. Those are great too. But I mean, everything is so dark and gritty, and I get it. It's supposed to be a story that's uplifting, but at the same time, everybody loses almost in this movie. On top of that, I could see if this was an imaginative thing, but it's he's literally reading this out of a book. So how is he just if they would have revealed at the end of the movie that all the pages were blank and he was just making it all up in his head, okay, that's good. But at the end, it's he's literally reading a book. The book is now magic apparently because it is conforming to whatever the reader is thinking. It just doesn't make any sense as to why this is not a Jumanji situation. This, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
And time. Okay, Leah, you get to rebut what Cheeto does says. Starting now.
He's reading the book, and it's not forming necessarily to what he said, although it's supposed to be a magic book that, because the bookkeeper says it's not safe. But it's revealed that, it's just like he's reading the book. He's outside of the boundaries of Fantasia because he's reading the book. He's been aware of, the trials and tribulations of Atreyu along the way. But it's also revealed by the Empress at the very end that the people reading the book or watching the movie that was inspired by the book are watching Bastion, and the Empress is aware of it. So it actually is supposed to pull you as the viewer or reader into the whole thing as well, which is actually what makes it the never-ending story, not the book itself. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, are you sure? Because you had about 4 seconds left. Okay, we're done.
I actually finished.
Cheeto,
4 seconds.
You want to rebut that, so we'll go to you in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I mean, as I said, a magic book. Okay, but they didn't reveal that at the end that either the book was blank or the book was actually like making. And I don't know if maybe because this came out in the 80s that they didn't have the technology. Although I'm figure they made things work back then, especially back in so when they didn't have CGI. But so I want to talk about Falkor really quick. What kind of pedophile dog dragon did you have? I mean, he's like winking at kids and he's like, oh, I like kids. And what a dick move by him. He says originally that he cannot take him any further than the Sphinxes, but then later is able to pick him up past the Sphinxes when he's like, able to get why he's worse than the Eagles in Lord of the Rings. Like he couldn't even take them all the way when he just could have gotten to the place that he's supposed to be going. I mean, and then he talks so slow. I'm so bored. And then, it's just, oh man, he's
time. Vince Hudson, you get to rebut that in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh God, that's actually kind of hard to rebut because I have some issues with Falkor that kind of make me want to say it's like I need an adult, but not he. Oh wait, are you talking about the Guardians that shoot the lasers out of their eyes, or are you talking about the blue ones that say that they're holding the world together? But then again, yeah.
Do you want to rebut? I don't think there's any really to rebut.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I'll take one more rebuttal, and then yeah. I mean, if you want to move into final thoughts.
Yeah. So you go first. Go on. So ready, steady, go, Cheeto.
So one of the other things I wanted to bring up that really is some of the characters in this game, like where you or in this movie. In the beginning when you have all like the three, like the Danny DeVito looking lion tamer and the snail and Korg the rock giant, I don't even remember his name. What is the point of bringing all of them together just to especially with the Flintstone steamroller car that he has? Like, how many people has he killed just getting to that spot? You know what I mean? Like, they're just, and then the plot is just, it's just wander from place to place with random things. And then, Falkor coming into real life at the end. As I said, I can see how a kid like this, but I'm not sure about like how this really plays.
And time. All right, Vince, that said, you get to respond in 3, 2, 1, go.
I actually wondered about that when I was a kid. What was the point of like having the people at the campsite and then going and then suddenly deciding we need to go to the Empress, but it's like I don't know. It doesn't reveal how the other three got together, but they're not really talking to each other. They're just sort of like come up to my fire. And then when the rock biter ends up joining them, that's when, you know, he starts revealing, you know, it's like the land that I'm from is getting, you know, taken away by this nothing. And then everybody else is like, wait, you know what? I think I have it in the South. I think I have it in the East. You know, it's like, oh, you know, oh shit, this thing is everywhere. We need to go west. Yeah. So, you know, all of a sudden the peril is revealed. And that gives the urgency, but that's
time. Yeah. Time. Okay. So we'll go into final thoughts. So I will start with Chio. Let me know when you're ready, and go with final thoughts. Go ahead, Chio.
So the Never-Ending Story is, as I said, it's never been a movie that I've liked, even when I was a kid. I mean, I respect the fact that people do like it, and I mean that it's kind of this off-the-wall fantasy, but at the same time, I really felt like it was a very shoddy product of the 80s. I really feel like that the plot was all over the place, and it's kind of like modern day like animated movies where it's just like, hey, this flashy thing and we kill this horse, and it's almost like a Tim Burton film where it's like, we're just going to be dark to be dark, and we're just going to kill a horse to kill a horse. You know, it's almost like The Boys nowadays where it's like you got to have like every episode, you got to have like a shocking moment, you know, in every scene, or like in the Boys, every episode, to really just nail home the effect and sear things into your brain, just so that you don't just so that, you know, you struggle with the movie in general. And some people call that good storytelling. I call that just, you know, flashbang, thank you ma'am storytelling, which is like, what's the worst thing we can do in this scene to make it memorable so that everybody's talking about
10
it.
minutes. 10 seconds. Sorry, 10 seconds.
I don't think that is good storytelling. I think that is a way to make it. That is political. Like, that is politics.
Time. Sorry. So Vic Jackson, you get your final thoughts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Again, it's like I can't expound enough about the fantasy setting and stuff. It's like I love the fact that you as the viewer are aware of things that Atreyu throughout the majority of the movie isn't even aware of, and it's like, how is this going to come to a head? You know, especially with the Gamork chasing him, and then and then he ends up in that temple that shows these prophetic paintings on the wall, and that's when he sees this beast that was leaping after him after Falkor catches him. The Swamp of Sadness, the reason he's not sinking is because it's not the swamp's sadness that's infecting him, it's his own. He lost his horse, but it's not the swamp that's actually affecting him. It's like, I love how they tried to have like a battle of wits with Morla, but although I would have absolutely laughed if what they had chosen to do was have him say, I'm gonna stay until you tell me what I need to know, or you're gonna sneeze forever. But yeah, I just
10 seconds.
Yeah, I just love the whole setting of the kid reading the book. Though I could have done without the kid.
And time. Okay, so yeah, please like and subscribe to see who won this particular discussion about the merits or dismerits of Never Story. Please go and watch the rest of Debate-A-Mania. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead, DH.
That was very good. Both of you made compelling arguments, and as you guys know, as we've stated numerous times, you guys decide the winners. I thought Cheeto made excellent points. I thought Vizaxon made excellent points. I am now compelled to see A Never-Ending Story and see for myself, because that is on the list of many movies that I have not seen yet. So I'm definitely going to go out of my way to watch it now, and
just be ready. Watching it as an adult is a lot different than watching it as a kid.
As a child? Okay.
Yeah. In my opinion,
right.
But what the only opinion that really matters around here
is what you guys think.
Yeah. So, all right, as I'm getting ready for the main event, which is the main event of the evening, I know I'm going to read some comments here to give people a chance to vote, but I'm going to bring this up first.
Yeah.
I don't know what do you think? I mean, let's talk about Debate-A-Mania 2 then, since we're getting towards the end of this Debate-A-Mania.
I've got some ideas forming around in my head. Like, okay, I've got another one. What is your favorite video game of all time and why? Would be another great idea.
I mean, that leaves it open to interpretation. You just got to find somebody who just like says, "Oh no,
yep,
this is the greatest video game of all time."
Yeah,
and you have to debate between the two.
Yep.
Or you can debate why one person says a game is great and the other one why
says it's trash. Yeah,
yes, says it's trash.
Or pick video game characters. Like, this is why like Batman is like the greatest video game character, or Nathan Drake from Uncharted is the greatest video game character. I've got some ideas rolling around in my head for Debate-A-Mania 2.
All right, so let's go to
the comments.
All right, so Daniel Vance starts off, "You're gonna make me cry." No, I think that was in regards to Artax. So yeah, that's the horse. Cheeto, I brought this comment up there. Cheeto is a swamp of sadness in human form. It's so freaking true. Daniel Vance says, "As a kid, at the end of the movie, I thought the Empress was yelling, 'You bastard, say my name.'" It'd probably be better if they did that. "Everybody loses isn't a rebuttal." Yeah, well, you know what? Your toilet talk is also not a rebuttal. Major says, "Agreed, Zam. That makes it dark, but not necessarily bad." Well, yeah, I guess you're right. 80s kids movies were dark and scary. That's why we love them. That doesn't necessarily mean everybody loves them. Just saying.
Yeah.
Greetings to Mr. System. A lot of howdies to Mr. System.
Howdy.
He says, "The Never Ending Story. I haven't seen them films in ages."
Yeah.
But you have seen them. Zam says, "Blasphemy from Cheeto." Of course. What else would you expect from me? Haven't heard Cheeto hate so hard since The Boys. That comment will come back in a minute.
Yeah.
Just a lot of highs and Mr. Systems, back and forth. Literally, Daniel Vance saying Cheeto beating a dead horse, which, again, literally, I was beating a dead horse into the swamp of sadness. And then Major H came around and said, "What did I say about Cheeto and the boys?" That's right, I do. I hate on the boys too, just for the same reason.
Yeah.
Zam disagrees, says the boys world class. That's another Debate-A-Mania topic. The boys world class or garbage?
Yeah, I think we're going to definitely be making Debate-A-Mania a yearly thing. I can see that now. It will be up there with like the Golden Glasses Awards as far as like what we do as far as big shit.
Yep. I was actually thinking next year possibly doing it closer to WrestleMania, Debate-A-Mania.
And then it can tie together. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this year this is kind of the experiment. So, but it seems like it's been a great success.
Can do this. Yeah. I think we can make it a yearly thing.
And that means everybody out there share this video out, because this was a passion project of a lot of people, as you can see, a lot of people put this together and put a lot of time in, especially myself. The block DH has been sitting here for almost 2 hours now with me.
Yeah, and we put it in, and we put this as a community thing. Like, the objective is to grow the community, like debate among your friends, like Star Trek, Star Wars, pro wrestling, video games, whatever it may be, TV shows. You guys out there are the stars of the show. It's not us. It's not Cheeto. It's not myself. It's all of you. You guys have the power to control this and tell us what you want to see. So,
So Zam again, yes, like and sub. That is correct. Like and sub.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're watching this on VOD and you can't vote at this point,
engage
leave
in
your
the
comments. Leave your comments below on who you thought won each debate. Subscribe, and then when Debate-A-Mania 2 comes around, you'll be able to vote in the live chat
and throw out ideas too. Don't be afraid to throw out ideas and say, "Hey, this is what I'd like to see you guys debate about."
Yep. Major Ray says this is a topic that really is hard to separate nostalgia from reality about. It is true, because it is true. The video game match needs to be a Hell in a Cell. Should we for our Hell in a Cell, should we be inside a cell phone? all of our stuff has to be recorded on a cell phone. Hell in a Cell. Hell in a cell phone. R Wolf versus Blue Thunder. Oh boy. Nerdiverse says Never Ending Story is a good movie. Cheeto is clearly the biggest heel in the history for hating on it. This is true. What I think is so great about this project is that it's so unique. I've never heard of anything like it, which that was the point. Is it was something that we wanted to try to do because it was original. And last comment here, yes, Sharon, like all people, put in good effort and heart. That is true.
Yeah.
All right, so I remembered this time. Let's get the results.
There we go.
And
Two
the
running
winner
gags throughout this entire thing have been Zam's energy and Cheeto for getting the results.
Yeah, right. That is true. Only hell will be for the viewers. Yeah, that's right. On the grandest screen of them all, your own. All right, so the winner of Vizaxin versus Cheeto, the never-ending story, is Vizaxin. She won by a landslide.
Wow.
So it's okay. It's okay. I know everybody's got their rose-tinted glasses on. It's okay. I'll cut my heel promo. You know, it's okay that you guys think the Never Ending Story is a great movie and your childhoods are just corrupt and dark. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not bitter.
Yeah.
Not really. No, I knew I was going into an uphill battle with this one.
Yeah.
Cheeto needs to go into nerd rehab. You are correct. All right, so everybody, this is the main event of the evening.
This is big.
This is it. Major Rage versus Zamario, two of the figureheads.
And I think we need Vince for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event of the evening. In this corner, the beast from the east, Zamario. And in this corner, the mouth of the south, the mage of rage, and they are debating Star Trek Enterprise. Is it good or is it bad? And you decide.
And here we
go.
Next match up on the docket is going to be Major Rage versus
guy with the collared shirt on.
Zamario. Today, these two are debating on whether or not Enterprise deserves any praise for being a good Star Trek show or not. Of course, we have Major Rage in the corner of Star Trek being a very good show in hindsight, or even back then. And we have Zam, who thinks that the show is shit. In his own words, that's a quote. So with all that being said, I'm going to flip a coin to see who makes a decision if they go first or second. So Zam is going to be heads. Mage is going to be tail. That's because Zam likes head. So everybody drops the coin. It is tails. So Mage, you get to pick on whether you go first or
tails
second.
Dominates.
I will go first.
You will go first. Okay.
I'll go first.
And we're off. I've already explained the rules to both of them. So as soon as you start talking, that's when the clock starts.
All right. Let's get to it. Star Trek Enterprise does not deserve nearly as much hate as it receives. The show is different, I will give you that, and a lot of people seem to be turned off by how different it was. It needed to be different. Star Trek had been on the air continuously for over 15 years straight when Enterprise started airing. So they needed to do something different. People argue about the lack of character development by some of the secondary characters. This seemed to be an intentional choice to try to be more reminiscent of the original series, which is a very big theme throughout kind of the way they set up Enterprise. You get back to that core three dynamic, and those characters, Archer, T'Pol, and Trip, get some of the best character development in all of Trek. You can only name a couple of characters who got more, and they're from DS9, so it barely counts. I mean, because it was just so good there to begin with, but I'm tangenting. Enterprise went back to more actiony, and kind of this, Archer was billed as this kind of action captain who got things done no matter what it took.
15 seconds.
People seem to be off-put by his nature, but we needed to see how Starfleet captains evolved and became the paragons we know and love.
Time. All right. Zam?
Okay. Well, after Voyager, the creators of Star Trek had literally no idea where to go with this particular TV genre. Luckily for them, we had First Contact, so they went with Enterprise as a way of expanding on what happened after First Contact. And the idea might have seemed good on paper, but the reality is that it kind of used a lot of the tropes from the original, the previous shows to expand in this particular show when it shouldn't have been there in the first place. Like the Borg. The Borg were on Enterprise, and they were never supposed to be seen before. Words which have come out from Q's own mouth. Well, that's now obviously not the case anymore. So, yeah, so for the sake of a bit of fan service, they did that. And unfortunately, it started becoming a bit too fan servicey and not necessarily expanding on the lore of Star Trek in general. When they tried to do different things, it wasn't that interesting. Like the Xindi, it could have been, in my opinion, it could have been a very good storyline to go down. But if anything, all they were doing was copying the Count Dooku syndicate of Star Wars, from episode 2. There was not much to go on with this particular show. It wasn't very popular with fans. Only lasted 4 seasons, which is sacrilege for Star Trek because Star Trek should always be popular, and this wasn't.
Time. All right, Major Rage, your rebuttal.
The lack of popularity of a product is not necessarily indicative of a lack of quality. I think that people were off-put by how different it seemed. A lot of the aesthetic was different and had that kind of reminiscent to real space programs, to NASA, what we are more used to. It seemed, as a result, less futuristic. But I feel that it was a good thing that we saw sort of a natural evolution. I will give you the point about the Borg retcon and including them being fan servicey. I will completely concede that point. But no, I would disagree completely with your argument that it didn't expand the lore of the show any. Andorians, who were a founding member of the Federation, had no real characterization until Jeffrey Combs came along as Shran. So the lore was expanded incredibly, and that's in its favor.
Zam, your rebuttal?
It's hard to know actually what we were watching was genuine, because by the time we got to the very last episode of the series, what we came across was a holodeck episode, and everything I believe what we were watching was from the view of the chef played by William Riker, who'd been watching all of this transpire through a holodeck. So were we watching genuine history in the Star Trek universe, or we were watching a glorified holodeck program for 4 seasons? And once again, when it came to Star Trek lore, they had to go back to tropes of people that were already established in the other shows, like Noonien Singh and stuff like that, which is something Star Trek is doing more often than they should do, because it's easy to go back to those tropes when you've got nothing new to offer. And this show needs to be offering more new things, and it didn't. And when it tried to do something a bit different, it fell flat on its face. It wasn't original enough, which is why it only lasted 4 seasons.
Time. All right, Major rebuttal.
The only lasting 4 seasons argument, while that looks good on paper, the early cancellation just shows that they had a lot that they could have been doing. Moving forward, there were plans for including Shran as a regular cast member in the 5th season. He was a fan favorite. These Are the Voyages problem was addressed with a novelization that showed the real events and not the holographic dramatization of those events, and actually made it where Trip lived and joined Section 31. But the Xindi arc was done well. It was, you saw Archer have to do what had to be done, and seeing a captain in that dark light was interesting.
Time. Sam?
I'm sorry for going back to the 4-season trope all the time, but Star Trek has been going around for many years, decades even, with very successful shows. And so for this one not to be, kind of shows that the very people that make Star Trek happen, the fans like myself, like yourselves, well, many of them weren't obviously invested in the show like this. It wasn't bringing in necessarily new people, and old people weren't necessarily happy with what we got. We were needing to see further ahead, but instead they took us a little bit back. And I'm not sure if that was necessarily the right direction for Star Trek to go with this particular show. You know, I commend them for giving them, you know, for trying something different. But on paper, the reality is that it wasn't the direction to go, which is why Star Trek nowadays is not even going anywhere near that particular timeline. It's way more TOS, TNG, and actually 1,000 years into the future. Going back that far back wasn't a good idea.
All right. Mage?
The early cancellation, I once again will say, is not necessarily indicative of quality. They were moving the time frame along. UPN put it on Friday nights and sent it there to die in the 3rd season, preventing a lot of people from getting invested in the Xindi arc, which was the first time we saw the entirety of the season have one overarching plot, which is something that we've seen a lot in modern Trek. So it was ahead of its time and was doing these things beyond just doing a bottle episode at a point in time where the bottle episode was the only conceptualization of what a Star Trek episode could be. You know, here, you know, in the past few years, we've seen the definition of what a Star Trek episode can be expanded and pushed upon.
10 seconds.
To the point where we have fantasy and musical episodes, and those things would not be possible without Enterprise.
Time. Zam?
Well, I feel that Enterprise hasn't necessarily left a legacy within the Star Trek universe for people and filmmakers, that is, and creators, television show creators, to want to expand upon on that. Yes, we might get a little mention of a particular character like Captain Archer's dog, which was a nice little callback, but overall, we're never going to go back to this period because it wasn't interesting enough. You know, people weren't invested enough. You talk about quality. Well, if the quality was there, regardless of regardless of the show not necessarily lasting as long as it should have done, it would have probably lasted longer if the quality was there. I think ideas were lacking. It wasn't necessarily that interesting. Unfortunately, some of the characters will not last the test of time like they would do from other shows because it's just not that memorable. And it's unfortunate because, you know, all Star Trek should be good, and there's a shame this one wasn't.
All right, Mage.
Secondary characters in Star Trek have always been problematic. They are almost always only characterized with one trait of personality and being good at their job, being the best of the best. I mean, Zam, you've even railed against the concept of everybody being able to be the best of the best in Starfleet. The secondary cast from the original series is probably only so remembered because they were the only secondary cast for so long. They didn't really have real characterization any more than Travis Mayweather or Hoshi Sato did. It just stands out more in the modern era because people started getting an expectation of that due to other shows.
10 seconds.
The only Trek that has really developed secondary characters is DS9. So
Time.
it's up.
Zam?
Well, I would like to say that I think pretty much all the characters within TOS are memorable. We've had countless episodes from the TNG characters, and until you mentioned Travis Mayweather, I actually forgot his name. But I was trying to think of myself because that's how memorable he is to me. The lasting legacy. The guy's name slipped from my mind. I could pretty much possibly name. I don't want to put myself on that particular position. I love the character from all the other TV shows, but yeah, unfortunately not him. And that kind of shows you that these characters weren't that great. The show itself wasn't that great. And that's why it only lasted as long as it did. I mean, if they could go back to the drawing board and maybe try again, I would love them to do so. Maybe an alternative timeline. You know, that possibility could happen. But this particular run wasn't
10 seconds.
necessarily wasn't that important in the Star Trek legacy of things, in my opinion. You know, it's so far down the line. You know, nobody really cares. It had no real massive impact on
time. Mage?
You mentioned alternate timelines, which brings us to the Mirror Universe, something TNG and Voyager lacked. That's something that Enterprise gave us in Season 4. Once it was already too late, Enterprise proceeded to give us some of the best multi-parter episodes in Trek history, exploring things that have been barely explored again until very recently, such as the augments. It had some of it explained and deepened some of the lore about the difference in appearance of Klingons between the original series and the Next Generation, and gave us an in-universe explanation for why the aesthetic is different. That holds a lot more water than Klingons cut their hair in times of war.
10 seconds.
I challenge you to describe Chekhov and tell me what makes him different or superior to Travis or more memorable.
Time. Zam?
I will not take that challenge, to tell you the truth, because it's not about Chekhov versus Travis. You know, it's just about memorable characters, and for me, Chekhov is extremely memorable. So much so they had, you know, his son play a part in one of the most recent episodes of oh God, was it Discovery? I can't even bloody remember now, but
it was Picard. It was Picard.
It was Picard. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
But so but anyway, it's not necessarily about that, and I've actually now lost my train of thought because I did have something initially to say, but unfortunately I can't remember what I was going to say. So
I'll give you an extra 20 seconds because Mage interrupted your time. So let me know when you're ready to go.
You mentioned the like alternative timelines and mirror universes. Oh, sorry, the Klingons. Yes, actually, one of the better things that Enterprise did, in my opinion. But once again, all of that to a degree kind of got discarded with Discovery because we still got Klingons with ridges there, and now apparently the new thing is that there were still Klingons with ridges all along, but we just happened to never to see them in the TOS series. Everything's a mess, you know. And regardless of trying to maybe fill this particular gap, it ended up not mattering at all because they wanted to, you know, the makers of Star Trek wanted to improve things, not necessarily that well, but they tried to by discarding that particular law that Enterprise had tried to do.
Okay. Mage, go ahead.
Kurtzman's retcon in Discovery doesn't mean that what they did in Enterprise was inherently bad with the Klingon lore. That means that for whatever reason that was changed, and it was a change that's very unpopular with most of the fandom. And I mean, for the reasoning for the aesthetic change doesn't seem to hold much weight. I would say that's more of executive production ruining what we had before than what we had before being of insufficient quality. Speaking of the Klingon stuff, Uncle Phil brings us to an excellent point about Enterprise. It had some of the best guest stars on any Trek program. I mean, people from The Big Show and other guest stars to recurring.
Zam?
Like most prequels, what they try to do is fill in the gaps, which is what the Klingon thing was really all about. A lot of gaps being filled in. So in that sense, I guess it's done its job, but was it necessary? Not really. You know, like we didn't need to know about the riches thing, to tell you the truth. Sometimes, you know, going back just to answer a question of why certain things were different later on is not necessarily important. And it's stuff like that they have to really kind of fall back on because there's nothing else to offer, because that's what prequels do. You know, they can't necessarily give you something good when it comes to storytelling, which is why Discovery had to go 1,000 years into the future, but they need to get away from all that prequel garbage and give us fresh new content.
Okay. You have 10 seconds left. Do you want to take it, or you just want to?
No, I'm done. That's it.
Okay, so that's your final point.
I guess. I mean, I can't really say any more than what I've already said. I think I've covered a lot of areas.
Go ahead and give your final thoughts, and then since you started, I will let Zam finish with any final thoughts, unless you want to forego that. Okay, so Mage, go ahead and give your final thoughts. I'll give you a minute and a half, and then Zam, you will have your minute and a half at the end to make your final thoughts, and then we will call it a match. All right, ready when you are, Mage.
Yes, Enterprise was poorly received. Yes, Enterprise struggled ratings-wise and was ultimately canceled early. I don't think this is necessarily a problem of any, initial quality being any worse than your typical, first, bad season or two that was true of any Star Trek up until Strange New Worlds, arguably. Enterprise was mostly unpopular because it made fans uncomfortable, I feel like. The aesthetic was different, and people didn't like seeing the evolution of Starfleet and the evolution of its officers going from being fallible, normal humans as we recognize them in the late 20th, early 21st century with all our societal problems still attached. It seems too different than the ideals and utopia you see in later Trek. But you don't get to there overnight, and ultimately seeing a natural, organic evolution was a good thing that was appreciated by more fans than are willing to be vocal on the net.
15 seconds.
That's it. I rest my case. Thank you for your time and consideration.
All right, Zam, final thoughts. You get a minute and a half until you rest your case.
I personally think that Enterprise should have taken more of a leaf out of the TOS when it came to what it was as a show, because we were going into strange new worlds, making strange new discoveries, but there's already sort of factions in places and all of that, and lots of politics involved. When I think we were still yet to discover this universe that we're in right now, and we should be coming across more episodic scenarios than this necessarily serialized sort of drama that they're trying to give us. Yes, there were some of that initially, but straight off the bat, we already had, this, renegade Klingon played by the late Tidy Lister running around, on Earth, causing this particular scenario that lasted several episodes. It was too serialized in that sense. It should have been way more episodic. And with these people just going on this adventure into space, coming across, the Klingons, they should have been first met out in space, not with fucking one guy coming to Earth. You know what I mean? This is the sort of direction Enterprise should have gone, being the explorers when they already know so many particular factions as well. I did like what they did with the Vulcans. The arrogance of them was very good, and something that has it's probably the one thing that's probably maintained since Enterprise, with the characteristics. But other than that, no real lasting legacy, unfortunately.
All right, time. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me here. You both had very compelling arguments, and now I'm going to turn it back over to the live commentators, which may or may not be a very ruggedly looking great guy and D Jose 101.
All right.
Yeah. So that
was a hell of a main event,
dude. That went back and forth quite a bit.
Went all out. Yeah, they brought it.
All right, bringing the poll up now. So everyone live in the chat, you get to vote for the winner of the main event of Debate-A-Mania 1.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody,
let me see
the best argument.
Yeah, let me see when WrestleMania next year is, because that will be when we plan out Debate-A-Mania 2.
That is right.
All right, WrestleMania 2024.
We'll start scrolling back here for some comments. The comments were actually pretty quiet for this one. I think everybody was kind of glued to their
sets.
Yeah. So
okay, so April 6th and 7th. So
yeah,
that will be a Saturday and Sunday.
Now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right around there. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the beginning of the comments here. Okay, so I think this is from before, but Major Rage was saying that I was hooked on Haterade, which I mean, might be true. Jim says Enterprise is a great show. Well, we will find out soon enough now, won't we?
Yeah.
Zam says I wasn't fucking around, hence the glasses. I mean, yeah, he brought, as I said, he brought the main event, the main eventness of himself.
Yeah.
Major says you brought it. You were a wonderful opponent and very brave to take me on. Daniel Vance says Enterprise gave us Jolene I can never say her name right. Blalock in a decontamination chamber putting on sunscreen was more to do young nerds need, or what more do young nerds need? Mage says I loved it at 17. At 38, I kind of cringe at the Burnhamisms, which is true. Unfortunately, those aspects are all some people see, which is also true. Daniel Vance says Prodigy only lasted one season and already has a huge following to save it, which I don't think they canceled Prodigy. I think they're moving it. So we
it's
of
on
course
hiatus right now, type of thing.
Yep. We talked about Trip Tucker. I forgot his last name. Trip Tucker surviving at the end. So say Trip lives and Little Spoon. It says Cheeto loves Prodigy, and I hold on. Daniel Vance says Lost Dog, Porthos, last seen in the transporter. That is true. That was, but that's in the Kelvin timeline, which I guess kind of would still be a part of the Enterprise timeline. I guess I don't know. That's a debate for a different day. He's still alive in the pattern buffer. So Porthos or Travis, or not Travis, Trip. Love Prodigy more than the boys. That was that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Playing with Mbega's daughter. A little bit of a weird comment there, but okay.
Right.
Jim says I love Beagles. I had 6 few years ago. Good God, 6 altogether or 6 separately? That's a lot. Me saying Trip playing with Mbega's daughter sounds weird. It's
very weird.
I meant the best Trek pet. Okay, so he meant he meant that the dog was playing with Mbega's daughter in the transporter buffer. Got it. Nerdiverse says Zams is so savage, but Mage ain't having none of it. What a battle of the ages. This is true. It was a good battle. It was a good back and forth, and it's something that we've been debating back and forth on our channel for a long time, and that's why we come here on the grandest screen of them all to figure it out.
Yes.
It is why I like to sodomize at Nerdiverse. So, okay. Yeah, him talking about sodomizing. It was haymaker after haymaker, rock bottoms answered with DDTs. It was. Daniel Vance says, never forget pregnant Trip. We will never forget pregnant Trip. Major, holy shit, I was so mad I didn't get my last point out. You turned into Rage-O-Mage instead of Mage-O-Rage. Amir Hoshi makes me thirsty. This is true. TMI comments about what I'd let Enterprise Sato do to me. So, yeah, baby. I had to moderate Mage's original comment about Empress Hoshi. Yeah. And then we was talking about the technical foul. Yes, I mean, Mage-O-Rage. We will not tolerate out of turn talking here at DEBATE-A-MANIA. Zam says he was just eating. Nerdiverse says humble pie.
Pie.
Zam, of course, answers ass. Your points make me sad at Zamario. So we did have a Twitch person chime in during this one. He said, I guess this is another DEBATE-A-MANIA topic. What was the most player hated in Star Wars for no reason? So I'm guessing what was like the most hated character in Star Wars for no reason. So we will add that to the list. That's a good topic, actually.
Yeah.
And then that's just me responding to that person. Mage-O-Rage jumping in with we both punched ourselves out. It's such a brutal match.
This one's going to be close, I think. Yeah.
Yes, you'll be cutting promos with necklaces on your on crutches. Yes. Jim says Enterprise was the beginning of the Federation and seeing how it was formed. This is a fact. Thanks. Nerdiverse says it's definitely a possible rematch with different topics, such as should be a consideration.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a rematch next year. Yep.
Men and neck braces, not in necklaces. Okay. I want Mr. Mage says I want Mr. T chains. Zam says I understand Jim, but doesn't mean it's any good. He's responding to people on his own. The transporter with Jason Statham. Oh, okay. Jim responds to me saying all 6 beagles at the same time. Man, you must have done a lot of hunting. And Dano Van says, cheers to everyone on other platforms. That is correct. We are also on Kick. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitch and YouTube, obviously. So, okay, everybody, last chance to get your votes in. Down
to the wire.
It is down to the wire. If you have not voted, please vote.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna kind of say here we have a tie currently.
Ooh.
We need a tiebreaker. So I might have to have somebody go in and do a tiebreaker. This is the first tie in Debate-A-Mania history, and it's the main event. We cannot end on a tie.
Okay. We got. It looks like it went up now. All right.
Everyone, get your last votes in. Come on, guys.
Yep.
We've got 15 people watching, it says, and we have 15 people watching, and we only have 11 votes. So come on, guys, just give us a click. That's all we need is a click for that vote. And also, yes, Daniel Vance does bring up a good point. The win goes to the Golden Glasses Award winners in this case. Oh, that's true. He is the Major Rage is the Golden Glasses Award winning host of the year.
Yep.
This is true. So we still have a tie, everybody.
Good Lord. It cannot end this way, people.
It cannot end in a tie. I'm going to call my mama. And tell her to vote.
Yep. Yeah. Cat Miller's got plenty of time to call his mama.
Oh, man. that I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm going to let this go for another. I mean, DH, like what let's talk about before we announce the winner. Right. I mean, as I said, it's still tied. What did the event overall? I mean, man,
I consider it a success. Yeah, we are going to be making this a yearly thing starting around WrestleMania next year. Because there are so many topics we could do. It could go on and on and on for years, such as like video game characters, best and worst video game. I mean, more Star Trek, more Star Wars, more wrestling debates. I mean, the concept is it's something for everyone. You're a sci-fi nerd, you're a wrestling nerd, you're a video game nerd, comic book nerd. You got a little bit of everything here today. And yeah, this was a excellent Debate-A-Mania.
Yep. 13 viewers, 12 votes. You know who you are. All right. Well, I think we got one last vote in here. So I am going to close it down now. So before we get another tie.
Yep. It's going up and down, literally. I'm watching the poll right now. Okay, I think.
All right, I'm going to close it down before we get another tie. So everybody has made their choices. All right. So without further ado, the winner of the main event of the first Debate-A-Mania is going to be Zamario.
Yep, Zamario with 57% of the votes. Yeah,
brought
it though. Both of y'all brought it.
Oh man, that was. I mean, it was tied for so long.
Yeah, for like 5 minutes. It was like, man, but yeah, you guys brought it. That was a hell of a main event. This has been a hell of a Debate-A-Mania.
Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad that all of us pulled this together to work. So I mean, so without dragging things on too long, DH, man, thank you so much for being here and sitting here with me. I mean, donating 2.5 hours of your Saturday afternoon. I had a blast doing this with you. I had a blast helping other people put this together. Mm-hmm. And I'll just go through the winners really quick. So the results of Debate-A-Mania really quick are the Bearded Man thing won the opening bout. Some douche named Cheeto won the second match with the Joker versus the Joker versus Green Goblin. Star Shrek. I think I missed one. No, Star Shrek won the debate between the Empire versus the Borg. The Block won the Ruthless Aggression versus the Attitude Era debate. Vizaxin won the honor of the Never-Ending Story, and so the Never-Ending Story is now a good movie, apparently, in people's eyes. I don't know. I don't agree, but whatever. And then, of course, the main event winner, Zamario. Man. So,
but ultimately, the real winners out there, you guys.
Y'all did all the voting. Y'all did all the, and thank you everybody who came in and sat through this whole thing. We truly appreciate you being here. If you're watching on the rewind, definitely leave your comments below. Leave a like, share this out, leave a comment below of what you think the winner should have been, who had the best arguments,
and leave your ideas for what you want to see for Debate-A-Mania 2, because this is going to be a yearly thing, guys. And we will definitely take your topics in consideration.
That's true. Yep.
So,
so again, with all that being said, everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you. Great event. And I think we should have Vince McMahon take us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the XF. What do you mean this is not the XFL? This is Debate-A-Mania. And we will see you all next time for our next video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And we are out. Thank you very much for watching.